Hi guys, a few weeks ago I got this light here for my friend. He gave me this and he asked me if I could do not a review about it, just like use it and post stuff on Instagram and stuff like that. And I said sure. It's like I haven't done it, but that doesn't mean I don't like it. I love it actually. It's very powerful. It has this app where you can change colors and intensity and make it a gel and stuff. And it's $50. So there's a lot you get for very little. You know, it is strong enough for, you know, be out of sight and make a little bit of atmosphere here when I do videos. And also just like, if I'm just shooting with my cell phone, I need a little bit nicer photos, I can have that light with me. And this is awesome. But this is not what I'm gonna talk about in this video. But this light is from a company called iWATA. I think I'm pronouncing it. It's a Chinese company and it makes lights, this light, and also these tubes. These light tubes. And actually when my friend gave me this light, I was much more interested in this because I had been meaning to get me some of those tubes because they are very handy, they pack easily, they're light, and they're pretty powerful. So I asked him if he could send me 2 of these tubes and I would make this video. And he said, sure. But we worked together before. So he knows that if I don't like it, I will tell you. So it's an honest review of those light tubes. And also, I might add, I'm gonna show you some real life scenarios. You know, not just sit here to talk about this because that's kind of, you get nothing from that. I have 2 models here at home, my girls, my daughters, and they are absolutely willing to help me to demonstrate for you how to use those lights. But there's a bonus. This is not just a review video. Because if you are a beginner in lighting, you might not understand why I'm changing the white balance, why, you know, I'm using blue and yellow with certain white balance, and why when I use another white balance that's completely different. I'm gonna explain, you know, make a quick explanation on why I do the things I do in this example. And also maybe because these photos, they were taken like here in this studio, which is not very spacious, and downstairs, it's done fast. So there were a few mistakes I wouldn't have made if I would have been, if I would have given it more time. And I'm gonna show you some of those mistakes and what I should have done better. But that's at the end of this video. Let's start with the review. Okay, this is not gonna be a very technical video because I'm not a very technical guy and I don't like watching technical videos, so I don't make them. But there are a few things, and I got it written down here, so I need to look at it. These are 16 watts. Okay, I accidentally turned it off. These are 16 watts, which after a whole hour of research online is more powerful than most of those lights in the same pricings. I would say a full stop more. You can see this is a lot of light that comes from this little tube, and it's nice. You know, look at that. I have it here. It's a little bit of a yellow light. You know, you can see it better when I do. It's a little bit yellow light. If I don't have it, you know, it looks. Look at that. Not. Also, I have this light visible. I usually don't have my lights visible, but just to demonstrate, now it's just like a teal background. You know, maybe I should like put more power to spread it more. But if I don't want that, if I just want the effect, a little bit of rim light here, a little yellow here, makes me look beautiful. And I need all the help I can get. So let's put it back. At least, back to the technical stuff. It's 42 centimeters long and it's 680 grams. It's light, it fits in most camera bags, so that's my point. The color range is from 2000 Kelvin to 9999 Kelvin. That's a bigger range than I've seen on any of the other lights. Is it, do you get all these colors? I don't know. At least, it has this app, and this app is good. I can control all the lights with this, including the small thingy light here, and they also the small light I showed you first. It's also here in this little app, and it's great. It works, it's functional, it responds. It's good. Okay, technical stuff. Battery life is on full power is about 2 hours, and it has these, and this is nice because I worked with some of those lights before, and sometimes when you need to limit the spread of it, we use like these, make a cartoon here and just make a tape on top to make a like this little bounder to limit the scope of the light. But here you have like these built-in bounders, which is cool, very cool. It has a bunch of effects, 20 something effects, like a police car and a fire and TV and you get it. All of them have this. Everybody has a police car. I guess that's very popular. I never had the use for it, but some people might. So that was my technical part. Not very technical, but it tells you what you need to know. And the app is very good. It's like, how is it good? It's like I have an app with a lot of stuff. And sometimes when I open an app that follows some device I have to control it, I'm just like, what, and I'm irritated. I'm irritated. But when I look at this, it just makes sense. It works. I don't get irritated. So it's a non-irritable app, which is good. But now let's see those lights in action. So here I have my little model, and I'm just using one of the tube with just a normal light, just like just to light her up, and just to demonstrate that. Let's shoot. I have my camera set on daylight, so white balance is daylight. So this would be a normal photograph. Decently lit, normal photograph. But let's do something a little more creative. Let's, for example, first let's turn off this light. All right, so now I'm going to change my color temperature to like 2500, let's say. That's pretty blue. So, and make a photograph. And this is very underexposed because I don't have any directional light on her. A little bit from the computer screen, and just a tiny bit, so she has a little bit of rim light. But that's like just because I'm dealing with a very well, limited area, let's just say that. But you can do a lot in a limited area. But with with light temperature at 2500, let's turn on a light and make that light a little bit yellow. Let's balance out the blue background. I don't know, maybe a little orange, we'll see. Let's see how it goes. This is maybe a tad green. We don't want green. Green is not nice. Now, the background is not like just normally lit as it was on the first photo. I used the white balance of the camera to make it a little bit blue, but I don't want her blue. So I make a little bit of a yellow light to counter the blue, but it is bleeding a bit too much to the background. So how can we deal with that? Well, we can try to limit the effect by decreasing the intensity of the light so it won't travel as far. But we do need it to light her up a little bit. And I can use those little thingies to block out the lights in a certain direction. So now it's basically hitting her, a little bit of that wall, but that's okay because, let's see, it's a bit too much. So now, and I got a little bit of creative lighting going on. So now, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna change the white balance again to, well, for the lack of a better word, to normal, to daylight. And I'm gonna turn on another light. I have another light. Another tube. Here's that. Let me see. And this is, oh, I accidentally turned it off. There we go. This is not blue. So, this is blue. So, very popular in video and is teal and orange. So let's do that. Let's make the background teal and the foreground orange. How much of this I need, but let's see if this gives us something. Now I'm struggling a little bit with the room, you know, because it creates some shadow. Let's see if I can do maybe here, raise it up a little bit and just do that. Then I might not have the shadows. So it's a little bit too much intensity of the teal light. So let's bring that down a little bit. There we go. And the orange light is good. Now so, let's come in. We can adjust it a little bit. It maybe is a little bit too orange. This is somewhat better. So let's see what we can do here. So this is showing. Doesn't really matter, but you don't have to show it. And we should. What was that? Hei! Prosto täältä lilla ketlikin, velkä. Sona. So that's just like a little example of what you can do. So here we have my other model, and we are sitting in front of this beautiful window. Window light is very flattering, very pretty light. If you try to use window light, you know that. So let's do that. So we are here, and even something like that. Let me see. Proste. There we go. Now we have window light. But as you can see, the outside is blown out. So how do we deal with that? Because if I shoot for the outside, so now the outside is, well, basically okay, but she is very underexposed. So then I would need a light to counter that. So let's use one tube. Here's one tube. And let's see how that goes. I made the light a bit yellow. But of course, you can do what you want with that. So now I'm shooting. I'm doing my best not to see the reflection of the light in the window. That's always not nice. That's never nice. So something like that. So I have my light at maximum strength. And it looks alright. It looks very like cinematic. It's soft, smooth, beautiful light. But I'm shooting against a huge light source, and it is daylight outside. So even if these tubes are pretty powerful, one tube is just not gonna do it. So what I need is another one, similar light. I'm not changing anything really. I'm just increasing the light I have. So here we are, and now she is nicely lit, and also I think oh proste. So now she's nicely lit, and you can also see what's going on outside. So usually you will see that if you're shooting against a big light source, everything will be silhouetted. So to counter that, you need light. And a light tube like this is, well, it fits in your camera bag. You can take it anywhere. It's pretty brilliant. Yeah. Okay. Before we go into the educational part of this video, I'm gonna end the review by saying it's a very good light. I did not find any obvious fault, any problems. I didn't have any problems either with the light itself nor the app. So it just works. But this is always price tag orientated, and I'm like, I look at the price of products, of things, of this tube, and it's $199 on the iWATA webpage today. So when you watch this might be different, just check it. But today it's $199 on that page, and for that you're getting a lot. I don't find this expensive for what you're getting, so I do approve. This is a good light, the price is good, and just like if you need a tube, this is definitely an option. If you are a beginner in photography and using lights, there are a few things in the example I made with my girls which you might not fully understand. And that has to do with light temperature and how do you deal with this light temperature. And in this example, I changed my light temperature to 2500 if I remember correctly. So it's blue, it's very blue. And to put this in context with something else you might know, it's like when you're shooting outside, sun is setting and you have the blue hour. Everything is kind of blue. It looks nice, but if you're shooting a person, it's just blue. And usually that's not what we want, a blue person. So what can you do? How can you keep the blue, the atmosphere, to show the time of day you're shooting, and just because bluish background is nice. So how can you do that without having the person blue? You know, and this is where gels come in. These are gels, and this is sometimes put here, and this is the most common one. This is blue gel and like yellow, orange gel. So this is used in front of your lights. So if I'm shooting in the blue hour and I'm just using the normal white light, you know, that comes from the flash or, you know, continuous lighting or whatever you have, you're just making the person more exposed, you know, brighter, but it's still blue because you're not changing the attribute of the light. But if you add in front of the light an orange or gel, if one go is not enough, two go might be enough, you know, then you're not making the person yellow, you're just countering the blue light. Like, for example, here. In this photo, everything is blue because the color temperature is 2500. So everything is blue. And if I would just put a light on her face without any gel, without any color, she would be better exposed, but she would still be blue. But what I did is I made a yellow light. I didn't change anything else. Now she just looks normal. The color is just normal because I'm countering the blue with yellow. But on the other hand, if I'm just using normal, like daylight, like around 5000 Kelvin, and which I use to shoot this photo, then it just sees the color of the light I'm using. I'm using like this blue or like cyan background, and I'm using a yellow light in her face. Because my white balance is daylight, it just sees the blue and the yellow as is. So her face is slightly yellow and the background is blue. So basically what you need to understand if you're a beginner in lighting, you're either using these tubes, these RGB, these color light for some nice effects, like I'm using here now. I have this nice light on my face here, and I have this, and for the background, you know, you're just using it for decoration or to make things look pretty. But sometimes you need to counter the color in the room, the color cast, or whatever. I talked about being outside in the blue hour. There's also difficult sometimes when you're shooting inside, and there's you're using lights from the ceiling, you know, just indoor light, some light bulbs, or you never know the color temperature of this. And sometimes when you shoot, you will see like a little green color cast or magenta color cast, something like that. So if you see a magenta color cast, It's not nice. It's very common. If you look at people's photos, you very often see this because their eyes are not trained to see it, so they just post it. But if you look for a magenta or green color cast, usually that's not nice. This is not what we want. So if the color cast is magenta, I would need a green gel or a green light to counter the magenta color cast. Not just white light to lighten up the face, but the opposite color to counter the color cast. I hope you understand this. This is not very complicated, but this is like, you need to understand this in order to use lights, especially color light, properly. Because otherwise, every photo you're just gonna end up like this. It's nothing. It's fun, but it's nothing. And lastly, I'm gonna tell you, I talked about I made some mistakes when I was shooting, but that's just like, the position of the lighting and there are some things I could have done better. But there's this one thing that I'm gonna address, and I'm gonna go back to this photo here to show you this. You can see here that she's like rim lighted. You can see on both her cheeks we have a light source, and one of those light sources was coming from my window because there's a tiny crack on my curtains, so we had light there. The other light, however, that light was okay. It was just white light, outside light, and it was an overcast day. So, but here I had, let's say, I had this desktop, and this is colored light. This is magenta. So you can see on this photo, the opposite cheek, it has a different attribute. It has a magenta color cast. And this is not nice. This is awful. You need to eliminate. First of all, I should have eliminated all lights because I just wanted to use the tubes. Second of all, you can see this better, for example, here. Here in the normal photo, on her cheek, the light, where the light comes from, not the shadow one, where the light comes from, I can see a slight magenta color cast. Now, I didn't edit these photos a lot. I just I put them in capture one and just corrected this a little bit, to make it nicer for viewing, but there's very, very little editing. So I did somewhat reduce the magenta because this wasn't supposed to be a part of this video, but it's nice to tell you because this is something you need to be careful with. You need to know about this, that every little light, no matter how small it is, can affect your shot. That's it. This is what I have to say. The light is good, and I hope you took something from this extra part where I try to explain why I do some of the things I do and how light works. Very simple, very basic, but very important. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.